Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Nicole Vignola Show. Today, we're actually going to be talking about what if your negative thoughts are trying to tell you something. Because I'm always talking about, that negativity bias and how we need to rewire those negative thoughts. And of course, that still stands. This is just an additional point that I would like to make, is that maybe those negative thoughts are trying to communicate that maybe you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be. Maybe you're not living in alignment. Maybe you hate your job. Maybe that relationship is draining you. And these are all reasons to pay attention to that narrative so we can begin to make a change. And so that negativity that you keep feeling, it might just be a signal that you need to shift into a change. So the first point I want to make is that your brain hates cognitive dissonance. When your actions are not aligned with your beliefs, you start to feel this cognitive dissonance, which shows up as resentment, frustration, anxiety, maybe sadness, maybe dissociation. Maybe you hate your job and every time you turn up, your brain, it knows. It's going, hey, this isn't for you anymore. And I know it's not that easy. You can't just quit your job. We have the bills to pay, that old chestnut. But those negative thoughts might be your brain trying to course correct. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to see that maybe there isn't anything wrong with you. Maybe you're not a negative person. Maybe your environment just needs to change. And this brings me to point number 2. Our emotions are like data. They are trying to communicate something, but they are not directives. So whilst they are trying to communicate that something needs to change, we shouldn't let them lead us and control us all the time. If you're feeling bad, it doesn't mean you are bad. It just means that something's off, right? So one of the tools that I want you to implement here is to ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? What is it trying to tell me? When we shift from what's wrong with me to curiosity, we start to realize that actually it's our brains trying to communicate something with us. Maybe from our subconscious. Maybe you want to go after that dream. Go back on a couple of videos I did at Dear Nicole Dilemmas, where there were a few of you guys all asking about how to go about reaching for that dream that you want to go after. When we shift from judgment to curiosity, that's where the real change happens. And point number 3 is that you want to let that pain point you towards a purpose. If your job is draining you, if your relationship feels cold, if you're sick of pretending to be somebody that you're not, start paying attention to that. Don't silence it. When we suppress our emotions, we are essentially asking the frontal cortex to basically dampen the communication coming from the limbic system. The problem is that brake system, it'll break at some point. That will crack. It can't hold the brakes forever. It will give up, and then all of it will come flooding in. The problem is that in that space, while you are suppressing, that frustration shows up in different ways. Maybe you snap at people. Maybe you're irritable all the time. You're anxious. You're sad. You don't feel good about yourself. Or you're going through life on autopilot. Let that discomfort spark some exploration. My suggestion here is that maybe take up that night course so that you can start moving into that direction that you want to go into. Start talking to new people. Ask them about their lives. Find out what other people have done to get to the point where you want to be. Negative thinking might just be your call to evolve. And I want to leave you with the idea that our thoughts are not our enemies. Part of befriending ourselves is also understanding where these negative thoughts come from. I always talk about the default mode network, that internal mind wander, as a garden that you need to tend to. The more time you spend in that garden, that nicer the place becomes, the more you want to spend time in it. When you have the negative thoughts that are ruminating in that space, the weeds, the overgrown grass, we need to pay attention to what is causing that, right? If you have a disease in your garden, you tackle it accordingly. We don't just get rid of it and hope that it doesn't come back. We probably treat it correctly as well. And so part of these negative thoughts is understanding where they come from so that we can learn to understand them, listen to them, and then evolve from them. If you found this helpful, then please like and subscribe, and you can feel free to drop a comment. I'm always reading the comments. I really appreciate you helping me grow this channel to the stratosphere. and beyond, my Rewire Collective.